Hi everybody, it's Jenny Druitt from That's Crafty Stampers. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia and I'm based in Langwarrin, Victoria. If you're new to my videos, I have a website here where I'll be placing the pattern of the projects that I'm doing today on there. So what I'm going to show you today is, it's a little long overdue with the new catalogue coming out at the beginning of July. I've decided to work on start on my Christmas cards, and I thought some of the ladies in classes would like to do that too. So the project the stamp set that I really love in this new catalogue is this gorgeous Storybook Gnomes. There's a stamp set in it with cute little gnomes in it. There's also matching dies that stamp out all these images. There's also an extra image of a build your gnome here, and also a grassy design and some little mushrooms. Along with that, there's also gorgeous designer series paper, which I'll show you up closer. The dies actually match the designer series paper as well. So I'll show you that paper. And it's absolutely gorgeous. These are the little gems, the fine sparkle adhesive back gems that match it. And the paper comes in 12 by 12 format, and you get 2 sheets of each of these papers. So there's one there. The dies in the set actually match all of these gnomes. That's another pretty one. I've already used some of that. Nice Christmas trees. Gorgeous little foxes and rabbits and birds on that one, along with the reindeers and the moose. And lots of lovely little images here as well that look beautiful on cards. So that's one side of the paper. Then also on the other side of the paper, you've got some more Christmassy designs. So really, really pretty paper, and the dies do match the papers. So what I've decided to do, I'm starting to think about doing my own Christmas cards, and because I've already got a lot of Stampin' Up products, and I can't remember what cards I did for all my relatives and friends last year. I know I used the Peaceful Cabin, this one here, which is no longer available, but I've decided if I do use a new set and combine it with this one, I should hopefully get a nice card. So that's exactly what I've done. I'm using the Storybook Gnomes set to make a tent-fold card that folds up like this, and I will have all that. This is the pattern here for the tent-fold card. But if you miss getting the pattern, everything will be on my website up here with the dimensions and everything I've used to make the card. So I've decided with my Christmas cards I'm going to make 2 different ones that I'll get 2 cards out of an A4 piece of cardstock. So I'm going to make this one, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do this one. And I'm using the Peaceful Cabin stamp set on the back of the trees along with the little gnome. And then another easy design of a cardstock that you don't really need a pattern for this. All you do is get an A4 piece of cardstock. I've used Real Red on this one. And you just cut it in half lengthwise. So you've got 2 long pieces. Score it in half and then make another score mark 1 inch in on this side. And this is going to open up like a little book. And you just tie some twine around there. So that's a nice easy card. I'm using exactly the same bundle on both these cards. And you'll notice on here a lovely frame. This is something in the annual catalogue. I'll explain what I've used and then we'll get into making the card. So this is called Fabulous Frames. It's in the annual catalogue and it's on page 171 of the annual catalogue, and it's this set here. There's lovely frames. There's a rectangular like a photo frame. There's little photo corners, an oval one, and this particular one here that I'm using on there, and a little label. And the best way to use that, and what I find you get the most use out of all the pieces if you do this, this is how the frames cut. So what I've done is put a piece of silver foil into the big shot machine, and then I got all my dies out and I laid them onto the silver foil, ran them through the die cut machine, and when they came out these pop out, so you get 4 little plain frames. They make nice little photo corners too if you're scrapbooking. So you get all those. You get this little one here, and then you also get this big one here. And then you can use the in-between pieces as well for your cards. So this layer here you could put on a card and use. Quite pretty. And then this one's lovely. This is what we'll be using on this card today. You can also use this part on a card, the oval part on a card, and the inner part. So there's no wastage at all. If you put all those frames together, line them all up together, run them through a piece of cardstock, you'll be able to use all those pieces on a card. So we'll get to now and show you how to make a 10-fold card. I'll just pop these aside. The other paper that we're using on this particular one here is from a set in the annual catalogue called Textile Chicks, and it's really pretty. It's got gold foil elements on a lot of the sheets. A great paper for men and also for women. And then on the back there's also very subtle designs, but this is the Christmas design I'm using from Textile Chic. I thought that was really pretty because it's got soft succulent in it, which is my favourite colour. So that's the paper we're using on that. And then paper that we're using on this is one of the free Sale-a-bration papers, which is in the little catalogue. And what happens in July and August for any $90 you spend in Australia, you get free products from, and they're all in this little book. If you haven't got one of these books, it is on, you can look at the PDF on my website. So there's all these free items that you can receive if you purchase anything. So this paper here is one of the papers that I'm using on this particular card, and it's called Rings of Love. And I'll show you also some other projects I've done with this paper, because there's, even if you've just got the paper and cardstock, and you like fussy cutting, there's quite a few designs you can do. For example, up here there's a couple that I've used with the gnomes and with the paper out of this set. But we'll get started and show you how to make the 10-fold card. So all you need for this is a piece of A4 cardstock, and you're going to cut it in half. You're going to cut it 11 inches and then cut it 4 1/8 wide. So that's 11 inches by 4 1/8 wide. Then you're going to score it in the middle at 5 1/2. So this is forming the base of your card. And then the 10-fold section, you're just going to get a piece and you're going to cut it. This is the part here that says small section for the bottom that forms the 10-fold. You're going to cut one piece at 4 inches wide by 3 1/4 inches wide. Then you're going to score it on your scoreboard. I'll show you how to do this. So I've just got my scoreboard here, and you're just going to put that in, and all your scores are going to be on this short side here, not on the long side, on the short side. So you're just going to pop that up to the top left hand corner, and the pattern will say here that you're going to score it at 3/8 of an inch on both ends. So you score it at 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch on this side, and then I'm going to flip it around and do exactly the same. Score it at 3/8 of an inch there, and then the other measurement is at 1 5/8. So that's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's all the score lines, and they're all on that short side. This is forming the mechanism for inside the card. Put that away. So what we're going to do with that piece is we're just going to fold it on that middle score line, like so, and press it with your bone folder. Then these little tiny areas, you're just going to fold back on themselves, like that. Flip it over turn it back on itself, flip it over, and that's what's going to be forming. It just looks like a little tent that's going to go inside this card. So if you can see that, it's going to go together like that. So what you then do, I've already done this just to save time for the video. On these two narrow flaps here, you're just going to put some double-sided tape on both of those. So once you've done that, I always pretend to put before I actually glue the card together, I always pretend to just lay it out to see exactly where it's going, and that's the way it's going. So you've just got to remember that this fold here faces this crease line here when you're putting it together, and these two flaps are going down that way. One's going down that way, so I'm just going to pull that double-sided tape off, and I'll just show you here. You just line this up with the fold. Excuse my head if it's in the way. Just going to line that up with there and press it down. Then just hold this piece down here and pull the double-sided tape off, and then you just fold this piece down straight on top of it like that. So that's how you get your tent fold. So just remember that that piece in the middle, that the folded crease faces this folded crease up here, and you'll be right. All the measurements are on the pattern, so it should be right. What we're going to do now is assemble the card, and I've pre-cut all the pieces that are on the pattern just to save time for the video. So we're using this beautiful paper from Textile Chics, and we'll use the snowflake side. We'll just put some multi-purpose glue on that. This is really great, this glue. It sticks pretty quickly, but you've still got a bit of wiggle room for it in case if you're not very good at straightening and lining things up, but just a little bit of wiggle room there. So that's all done. Now I've pre-cut the pieces out of my fabulous frames for this also, so I'm using this particular die here. But before I do that, I've stamped on the little tiny frame that's in this set. On this little one I've stamped Merry Wishes, which I'll put that on first down the bottom. Just glue that on. Stick that on the bottom. So the only difference with these two cards that I'm making, this one's going up this way and the other frame on this one is going across. But I've used exactly the same stamp sets and dies, just two different cards and two different papers. So we'll now put the lovely ornate frame on with glue. Don't know if any of you have started your Christmas cards yet, but I thought I might make a start, get some made. So not rushing at the last minute to get them all finished. Right, so we've got that frame on. Now with the little gnome, all you do is you're using the Gnome Stamp set, which is here, and I've decided to put this lovely little one here with the lantern on it, and I'm just going to stamp it up onto a piece of white cardstock in Memento Black, because Memento Black's great for colouring in. It doesn't smudge, it dries quickly. So I'm just going to stamp that up onto there. Now there's all different ways of colouring in, so you can just colour this in with whatever you've got. I've coloured mine in with my Stampin' Blends, and the colours I've used on that are mint macaron, soft and light and dark mint macaron, light succulent, soft succulent. I've also used light Pool Party, grey granite for the beard. So the hat's done in the Pool Party, the top's done in the mint macaron, the pants are done in the soft succulent, the shoes are done in the soft suede in the light, and I've also added So Saffron into the little lantern and a bit of pale papaya. But if you haven't got your stamping blends, you can always use your watercolouring pencils, and these are a great source to have if you're new at Stampin' Up or haven't got a lot of supplies. You just use these colouring in pencils with your stamping blends, and that you've got a good range of colours here. There's 13 colours in there. If you haven't got those and you've got a few ink pads, all you do is make a palette of ink onto your lid by pressing it on there, open it up, and then you could always use your aqua brush, which is one of these filled with water. It's got a brush end on it, or you can use your stamping blends, these blender pens, and you just put it into your ink there like that, and these have some sort of solution in that's wet that you can just colour in with those. So if you've got a lot of ink pads, it's a good source of colouring in altogether, because ink pads you've always got, they never run out. You can get the little refills for them to re-ink them. So if you've got a few colours, it's a good way of starting your colouring collection for your crafting. So, but I've already coloured the little gnome in, and I've cut him out. So I've got him here. And what I've done for the trees, if you're wondering what the trees are from, so I've put this, there's a little gnome that I've coloured in, and then I'm using two of the corners from the Fabulous frames, and I'm using the ornate ones. There's ornate ones and there's plain ones. Thought I'd use the ornate ones. So I'm going to stick those onto the corners of the card, and it just gives it a nice accent. Just pop those up in the corner, a bit like a picture frame, but I thought I'd only add 2 rather than add the 4. More glue. There's one corner on. Put another corner on there. So that's that done. Right, now for the little trees that are on here, if you're wondering where they're from, they're one of the Sale-a-bration new items. That's a free item in the back of the catalogue here. And I'll just show you. There we go. So that's the tree lot dies, it's called, and it does all these solid images of the trees. It's also got the overlay image. It does a caravan and the trims on the caravan, a little Christmas wreath. It also does a twig with little branches, a log fire, stars, a dog, a post, Christmas lights, and a flag light. And I have got a couple of cards over here done with this set. I'll just so if you know anyone that's got caravans, there's a couple of cards done with those caravan dies. I've just combined that one with On the Horizons DSP, and this is just done as a Christmas scene. So I'm using the trees out of this for my gnome card. I've already die cut them out, so I'm going to use 2 of the big ones, the big one and the medium sized tree, and then I've done an overlay in a glitter paper, so a big one and a small one, and I'm just using a snowflake design from an old set called, I think it was Flurry Finishes. So I'm just going to put that aside. So we'll put the trees on first. So you just need a little bit of this glue, little dot here and there. You could use adhesive sheets too on this. It's a great way of sticking them down. So we'll just put that one on top of there. So white on white always looks quite pretty. Same with the little one. We'll just put some glue on the back of this one. Then we'll attach both of these to the card. I'm just going to use the glue again for this. I'm just going to pop one tree there. Another one on the side there. And then with the little gnome that I've already coloured in, I'm going to add dimensionals on him just to pop him up a little bit. Make it look as though he's in the foreground on this card. Oops. Okay, so this is nearly finished. So I'll just pop that there. Now to do the back of the card, that was really easy. I've just used that's a piece of mint macaron, or you could go darker and use evening evergreen. And then just on this piece here, what I've done is I've got my blending brush and I've just used some balmy blue. I'll just quickly explain this. So just using the blending brush into the ink, start off the page, and you're just going to add a little bit of colour over here to this. And we'll put it a little bit heavier down the bottom, just so it looks like a snow ground. And then we're just going to stamp some little snowflakes onto this. Do some dark and some light. And then for the trees, I'm just using the Peaceful Cabin, which is retired. That's a beautiful set. Some of you may already have this. Got that mounted onto this block already. So we're just going to ink up some trees here. Just going to ink some up there. And then what I did have a post-it note. You just need post-it note because I only want those two trees and not this little one. Just going to put a post-it note there so that the image doesn't get inked up. Pop that there. Then I'm just going to add all those things together. Pop that on there and do another little gnome to put on the front, and then the snowflake on the top. So that will be your finished card. Nice and easy to do. I'll just quickly show you a few other cards done with that gnome set, just to give you a few ideas. So I've got this one here, cute little one here, this little one here. This one I've also used with the hippo dies. I've used some of the dies out of that one. And I've also made a little gift card holder using the mini pocket dies, which is in the main catalogue. So I'll pop all those things there. I hope you've liked those products and projects. And if you go to my website here, you will find all the pattern on it and also the picture of these two cards and what I've used to make it. Happy crafting everyone, and have fun. Thank you.